What's going on, guys? Today, we're looking at the reverse retro NHL jerseys for the 2022-2023 NHL season. John and I were going to do this together, but we decided to go ahead and split this up and each kind of give you our own opinions. Definitely go check out his video after watching this one. So let's go ahead and just get started right with it. I'm going to start off by saying I've only been watching the NHL since 2013. I kind of started watching a couple years before that, but like where I really started to focus was 2013. So when I judge these jerseys today, I'm not judging them based off of what other choices they could have chosen because I don't know a lot about the history of all the jerseys in the NHL. Still learning that. So what I'm going to base my review off today is just plainly what I'm seeing, like what I think about these jerseys. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So I'm going to go ahead and start us off with an S tier, okay? And what I'm talking about is the Montreal Canadiens. I think these colors look great. I really, really do. I think it's different from what I normally see. And keep in mind, I'm a Tampa Bay Lightning fan. Me and the Montreal Canadiens don't really get along very well. And on top of that, we saw the Stanley Cup a couple of years ago. Lightning took that one. Next, let me just go straight up F tier, just so you guys can get a gauge of where I'm at. Seattle Kraken. I have to put them down at the bottom. I know that they've only been around for a couple of years, so like they don't really have a lot of retro options. John and I actually talked about this before too. I bet you I haven't seen his video yet, but he might agree with me. It just kind of looks like a regular everyday jersey that they could wear, like just like an alternate of some sort. Like it just, I don't know. They could have done something different. Even if they just like wrote Seattle, take Chicago for instance. They did a nice classic, Chicago right down the middle. And for that, I'm going to give them a C tier. Doesn't do a lot for me, but it's a decent one. I think C's still a passing grade in my eyes. So let's dive deeper into some of these other ones. Let's go ahead and talk about the Penguins. Penguins is another jersey I'm going to throw in the C tier. It's an okay jersey, but it's really not doing that much for me. I know it's their old logo. I've seen that as well many times. Like I've seen old Chicago ones. I've seen even the Islanders one. I've seen that one before and photos and stuff like that. It's just I don't know. I feel like they could have done something more. For instance, Calgary originally I would put them in the C tier. However, I'm actually going to move them to the B tier. I think that stripe going up the torso, I think it looks really, really good. Now, I want to see the jersey up close because I'm curious how that stitching works and if it's maybe just like kind of printed on. Like this jersey, this Bolts jersey, this is like, it's like kind of dyed. Like this is like it's built into it. I'm worried that one might kind of be like a normal jersey decal kind of feeling. I'm a little worried about that. But for now, we're going to keep it in the B tier. Let's just go down the line. So the first one there, we got the Bruins. The Bruins, honestly, it's not doing much for me. I'm going to honestly put that one in the D tier. And I know that's probably a classic logo. I'm sure that's an old retro. It just doesn't do much for me. Maybe I'm a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, and so I don't really care for the Bruins that much as it is. But anyways, moving on. Next up, we've got the Canucks. I dig this logo. I think this logo looks fabulous. It's definitely retro looking in my eyes. This is definitely an A tier. It's definitely an A tier. I wouldn't put it as like one of my favorites, but I definitely like that logo. In fact, I'm going to actually skip back and I'm going to go to the Islanders next because the Islanders logo, I've seen this logo before. I think it looks mean. I really like it. Let's take that one. We're going to put that one in the A tier as well. So next up, we have the Capitals. I love this jersey. I love this jersey. I think you can guess where this one's going. We're putting that one in the S tier for sure. I think that classic logo just looks really mean, and I think it's going to look great on them this year. So excited for those games. Next, we got the Hurricanes. I honestly, I got to put this one down in the D tier as well with the Bruins. It just doesn't do much for me. It really doesn't. So the Hurricanes jersey, yeah, let's move that to the D tier. And honestly, that's really all I've got to say for that one. And next, we've got Colorado. Honestly, I live here in Colorado now. I've seen this classic C before with the sun in the middle. I definitely would say when I first look at this, I put it in the C tier where, it doesn't blow me away or nothing. But I am a Tampa Bay Lightning fan and I don't like the Colorado Avalanche. So they're going to the F tier. They're going to the F tier solely because I hate the Avs. Moving on. Next, we've got the Columbus Blue Jackets. When it comes to the Columbus Blue Jackets, what was it? I think 3 years ago, 4 years ago now? Yeah, 4 years ago, the Columbus Blue Jackets, they swept the Lightning in the first round. John Tortorella was their coach at the time. We saw what happened the next year and the year after that. We also saw that they didn't move much farther. I think they got knocked out the next round anyways. Honestly, when it comes to this jersey, it's a C tier for me. It's not doing a lot for me. It kind of looks like their classic jersey, and that's really all it's doing for me. So I'm going to put it in the C tier. All right, next up, we got the Arizona Coyotes. When I look at this jersey, immediately I say S tier. I mean, throw it up there in the S tier. That thing is looking fabulous. However, you can't have a better jersey than your team. Like your team is just you're so bad. You're playing in a college stadium. Like this thing, honestly, I'm not going to put it down in F. I'm going to bring it down to D. It's going down to D. I'm sorry. You just can't have a better jersey than the team that you have. You just can't do it. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a mean looking jersey, but get a stadium before you get a nice jersey. All right. Next, we got the Anaheim Ducks. This one, honestly, it's a C. It's another C one for me. I just think the Mighty Ducks, it's a classic logo, but I feel like we see it every year. I just think they could have done more. It just doesn't do a lot for me. So it's not a bad one. Like it's just, I don't know. It's a C for me. Next, we got Detroit. Detroit did a very similar style to Chicago. So I think, yeah, it's going to be another C. It's going to be another C for me. But again, I don't think these jerseys are bad. I just think, they're not just C is like you're passing. Like you got the assignment. You didn't go above and beyond, but you got what you needed to do. Honestly, I know the New Jersey Devils are up next, but I want to talk about this Florida Panthers logo. Now, I'm born and raised in Florida. I'm a Tampa Bay Lightning fan first and foremost, and to be honest, the only time I'd root for Florida is if Tampa wasn't in there. But I gotta say that is a classic Florida-looking logo. I don't know. I'm sure this was probably like back in the '90s that they probably wore something like this, or maybe the early 2000s. It's just super classic. I really love the palm tree. I love the hockey stick cross. I'm gonna put that in the B tier. That one, they got the assignment and they went a step above. I really like that one. All right, next we'll go back to the New Jersey Devils. Honestly, throw it in the C tier. It looks like a classic New Jersey Devils jersey to me. It just doesn't do a lot for me. Let's go ahead and go over to the Vegas Golden Knights. Let's talk about that because we already talked about the Kraken, right? Kraken have been around what 2 years? Vegas has been around what 4 or 5 years? I know they don't have a lot of options, and they really didn't do that retro, in my opinion. So originally, I kind of put them in the F tier until I learned their lettering is glow in the dark. They're going in the D tier. They're a step above an F. They didn't go too retro, which is why they don't get to go in the C. But the fact that they got the glow in the dark lettering, I'm going to put them in the D tier. All right, next, let's talk about the Oilers logo. I thought this was a futures. I've never seen this logo before. I did not know the Oilers had this logo at one point. I think this logo looks great. I think the coloring looks great. I think they did a really mean job with this one. They're going to look dirty when they play these games. I hope they're not playing the Lightning because I would be scared. I'm going to take that one. I'm going to put that one in the A tier. I really like that one. Let's throw another A tier in there. The Nashville Predators. I used to live in Nashville. I lived there for 4 years. It was a good time. I loved it. Had a lot of great time at the games there. Saw them beat the Lightning, saw them lose to the Lightning. Man, in Nashville, let me tell you, I don't know if you've ever been to a game there. When they score a goal on you, they have a chant, and in the chant, they go, "Hey, you suck!" And it's intimidating. And I could not imagine being a professional hockey player on the ice while the entire stadium is yelling at me, telling me I suck. With that being said, that jersey does not suck. I really like it. I like that old style logo. That's an A tier for me. Next, let's throw up the Philadelphia Flyers. I mean, when we're talking retro, I don't see it. Maybe this is like an old style that they had. It's another C tier for me, honestly. Like it doesn't do much for me. So I definitely was going to put that one in the C tier. John's probably not going to like that one, so definitely tell me in the comments. If you hear him on the Twitter or something, he starts saying something, let me know in the comments. Let's throw another F tier up there. The Buffalo Sabres. There's a little bias in here. I'm not going to lie. I'm not saying that I don't like that logo. It's a better looking logo than I think the logo that they have now. Problem is, every time the Lightning play them, even when the Buffalo Sabres are the worst team in the league, we have such a problem playing them, and so I have to put them in the F tier. Moving on. Let's talk about the Bolts. I was gonna save it for last, but you know what? Let's not save it anymore. When I first looked at the Tampa Bay Lightning's jersey, I wanted to put it in a D tier, but I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that to my boys, so it automatically, with a little bit of bias, moved up to a C tier. However, it started to grow on me. It started to grow on me more and more and more. And that's why it's an A tier for me. Those flames on the side, and I actually looked up the jersey before. It wasn't all colorful like that when they first had those jerseys. I believe it was just like a gray or like a silver of some sort, but it was not all colorful like that. I think that looks like totally retro. It almost screams like 80 vibes to me, and they didn't even play in the 80s. So like, I don't know. I love that one. I'm putting it in the A. Like I said, at first I was a little iffy. It's grown on me. And of course there's a little biased in there. Maybe it should be a B tier, but we're putting it in the A. Next, let's talk about those New York Rangers. This is another B tier for me. They understood the assignment. They went a little bit above. I like that logo. I think they did a really good logo that I think that represents New York real well. They play in Madison Square Garden. I know I've never been there. Would love to go to Madison Square Garden, but I know that those fans, when that game goes on and they're wearing those jerseys, they're going to be excited. It's going to be a loud crowd that night. Next, let's talk about the Jets. It's been sitting there. I've been just kind of moving around it. To be honest, it's another C tier for me. Just doesn't do a lot for me. It just, looks like a classic Jets logo. I've seen retros like that before in previous years. Of course, it's different coloring and different stitching and all that stuff, but it just seems like a classic Jets logo, but it doesn't look bad. So that's why I'm putting in the C tier. I'm also going to put the LA Kings next up in the B tier, actually. To be honest, when I first looked at this one, I was saying C tier, but the reason I'm putting it in B tier, that logo's grown on me. It's a classic. It's definitely retro. And I think at first I didn't like it, but then I said to myself, well, it is retro. And that's what made me really think, okay, we're going to put that at B tier for sure. And another one I'm going to put in the B tier, the St. Louis Blues. It's definitely grown on me. At first, I thought it was really plain, but the colors, they're retro, they're vibrant. I really like those ones. I think it's going to be a fun night. So they don't look too scary to me compared to some of these other jerseys that I feel are, up here in the top that, definitely have that kind of vibe where I wouldn't want to play them. But I mean, neither does Florida's. Florida's doesn't look too scary. I just think it's a really good look. So it's a B tier for me. Next, let's talk about the Stars. The Stars logo, the stitching, the way they've got the stripe down the middle of their waist, it's pretty classic. I'd almost put it F tier, but I'm just going to put it in a D tier. I think they could have done a little bit better, but they didn't do terrible, so I'm giving them a D. Next up, let's go ahead and go with those Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, Austin Matthews, if you don't know, is currently my favorite non-Tampa Bay Lightning player. I just think he's really dirty playing hockey. He's got crazy moves, and he gives me like a Joe Burrow vibe of like of the NHL. If I imagine both of them hanging out, they're smoking a cigar. They've probably got a girl on their lap. They've got a bottle in their other hand. They're just ballers. So that gives me a little bit of bias. I just like these classic looking jerseys. I'm actually going to give them a step up from a C tier. I'm going to put them in the B tier. They're not crazy. There's nothing too wild about them, but they're definitely a B tier to me. All right, next we're going to talk about the Minnesota Wild. I'm going to go ahead and just throw them right in the B tier. The reason I'm doing that, I really like the colors. I think they did a really good job with the colors. For me, B tier is they understood the assignment. They went a little step above. That's why I like that B tier because I like that they did these really nice colors. Another one that I'd probably put in the B tier is definitely going to be those San Jose Sharks. I think that's again that coloring. It looks great. Like they did a really good job with the colors. Didn't go crazy above and beyond. Maybe there's a better jersey they could have chose. I don't know. Moving on. Last but not least, the Ottawa Senators. Ottawa Senators, honestly, probably another C tier for me. You know what? I'm going to make this a B tier. Let's move it into the B tier. The reason I'm saying that, I do like the striping at that angle down at the bottom. I think the way that they, chose the colors the way they did, it looks good to me. So remember, when I ranked these today, I don't know what they looked like. I don't know what the original coloring looked like. And I mean, I'm sure some of you probably haven't either. Nobody's probably, that many people alive today have probably seen the Chicago or Detroit jerseys look like that. Because I'm assuming those are some of their original jerseys. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Tell me what you think I could have done better. And for you diehards out there, I'm sure there was some of you pulling your hair out. Tell me what you thought as well. What could I have done better? Do I need to do my homework and start doing some research on some of these old jerseys? Tell me down in the comments. Also, make sure you go check out John's. See if I did better. If I did, come back and tell me. If he did better, tell him in the comments. But honestly, just no. Just tell him I did better. Just tell him I did better in the comments. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next one.